I forgot to turn the recorder on. Okay, we're going to start in a restorative pose today. So once you get your blanket rolled up, you can stack it over your feet. You can take the loose ends and roll it more tightly and stuff it under your calf. Or like I said before, you can use blocks as well to stack up underneath so that both your knees and your hips are being nurtured, held, and supported. And then you're just going to gently roll onto your back, checking in with the low back. Sometimes if it comes all the way under the sacrum, depending on the day, it can be too much. So you're welcome to come back up and slide it more under your ribs. And then your hands can fan apart and be open and receptive. And then close the lids of your eyes. And so I want you to check in with your hips, making sure they're not unsettled. And if you absolutely needed to lift the knees and straighten the legs, then do that. Otherwise, be here and see if they can begin to unfold. Let your shoulders roll back. Your heart center open. Begin to magnify your breath. As you're purposely increasing your intake of oxygen, notice the wave of the breath as it rolls up from the belly to the chest and back down. Continue to surf the awareness of your breath. Deepening the breath so it's diaphragmatic, which will help to boost immunity. It will help to stimulate our lymphatic system, can improve digestion, but it also can be a calming agent for the mind. Continue to lounge, relax, and breathe. And I'm going to share with you our theme for today. Our theme today is going to start off with a quote. The quote is, "A flower does not think about competing with the other flowers. It simply blooms." So consider a bundle of flowers or a bush that has flowered, and how each one is unique and different. And how they're not trying to compete with each other. So the contemplative question for today is, are you competitive? If so, do you find that it's in your nature, or have you been conditioned to be competitive? Consider how some of our society's systems encourage competition, and how even science says survival of the fittest. However, as we are awakening our soul truth, hopefully you are discovering there is no need to compete. If you're truly connected to your authentic self, there's an infinite supply of originality and creativity. So you yourself are unique, just like the flower. Stay mindful of your breath so that you're centering with the breath. Take at least 5 to 7 more breaths here. Now to exit this pose, we're simply going to lift the knees up and together. We'll roll over to the right side, which allots more space for the physical heart. And we'll push down to the left palm and then walk the hands in to sit up. Now, when you come up to sit, we're going to transfer to hands and knees. When you stack onto hands and knees, we're going to start doing an active back bend with the counter. So cat-cow. As you inhale, drop the belly, but shoot the tailbone and the top of the head upward. As you exhale, drop the tailbone and the head downward and suction in through the belly. Inhale, moving back into that saddle effect, opening the heart. And then exhale, a counter stretch, arcing the shoulder blades up. Continue to move in sync with your breath. If you have the tendency to kind of loosen up the arms in between, then make sure that as you're holding each asana, they're straightening out. Let's do one more. Improving the flexibility in the upper body. Getting more pliability to the spine. On that cat stretch, you're just going to sit back towards your feet, but keep your head up. And you're going to walk your hands over to the right side and gently lower down, accentuating that stretch through the left arm. See if you can improve the breath into your left lung. Feel that left lung balloon out as you inhale. And feel that side deflate on the exhale. This is connecting us to the gallbladder meridian according to Chinese medicine. But we're also receiving and opening the heart, lung, and pericardial meridians that travel through the inseam of the arms. Your next in-breath, let's lift the head. Walk the hands across the mat over to the left. Again, lengthening through the right arm, especially as you spill over. The head doesn't have to touch the floor. It's okay for it to hover. Mine's hovering. Then put more breath into the right lung.
We'll be doing a blend today between active and passive poses, shorter held postures and longer held positions. So a little mix of yin yang today. On your next in breath, lift the head, walk your hands back to the mat, keep the hands shoulder distance apart, rock up to your hands and knees, curl your toes under, launch into Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you carry yourself back to downward facing dog, plug the hands into the floor, the balls of the feet into the mat, and really extend long through your limbs, through the shaft of the spine. Lower your head between the arms, gaze in the direction of the feet, but keep the eyes open. For when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Basically, that's just a quote for mind expansion. Take one last breath in down dog. And then walk the hands back towards the toes, land your heels, and bend your knees. But try not to bend the knees too deep, because if that's the case, then your quads are going to start to burn. And what we're trying to target is the back of the legs. So just a soft bend. Your arms can release like a rag doll. Your head can be heavy. Your eyes can be open or shut. If for any reason this is aggravating to the low back, you can always prop your hands to your shins, straighten out your arms, lift your torso halfway, and plug the belly in towards the spine. Otherwise, hang free. Affirming in the process, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. I let go of any competitive nature and celebrate my own unique self. Now on your next in-breath, you're going to root the feet. You're going to sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. Now this is where we're going to be active. So the hands are going to lace together into this mudra. Your shoulders firm up towards your ears, grounding your feet, and then curving to the right. Try to imagine you're in between two panes of glass. In other words, you don't want that top shoulder rolling down, because that will tilt the upper body, okay? You don't want your hips shifting forward or back. So just imagine you're in between two panes of glass. And then inhale, bring it up to the top. Exhale, take it over to the left. Affirming here as you hold, strength and courage is filling up my brain and body cells. On your next in-breath, come back to the top. As you exhale, pour down again to dangling or Uttanasana. And we're going to walk out on the hands until we arrive to plank. So you'll know when you get to plank, when you feel that your arms are like the columns of the Parthenon. Your hips are not high like down dog, they're lower. Building some bone density. Now sink your knees, untuck your toes, and you're going to roll it down to your brow. Keep your hands solidified under your shoulders. Take a moment to lift and lengthen each leg. thigh bones, shin bones, and feet. Glue the feet to the mat, tuck the knees in, push the pubic bone down to feel the glutes far up, loop the shoulders back, and rise into cobra. You don't have to come up very high, but we are trying to strengthen the back. We're trying to also strengthen the diaphragm muscle that's helping us to breathe. On your next out breath, slide your arms forward for Sphinx. And once you're in Sphinx pose, you're going to slide your feet apart. And then you're going to put a little shake in your hips. Loosen all that up in the lower body. And then it's okay to shrivel a little bit into the shoulders and bow your head. So now we're getting more yin again. Now in this position, something I prefer doing is leaning the head to one shoulder and then exploring to the other at a very slow speed. And whenever you feel that thread of tissue or a particular muscle that feels really tight, pause. See if you can work some of it out. Think about how small the neck is, yet it holds up the weight of the head most of the day. When we look at the neck and the throat as being the bridge between the head and the heart. But if we have too much tension in the neck, it can create migraine headaches. We're just going to try to work some of this tension out. Now that you've been holding it there, see if you can find a second spot. Maybe it's on the same side, maybe it's on the opposite. Notice if you start to notice the tension in the neck, the jaw might grip. The teeth might grip, the lips may grip. So soften your jaw, your teeth, your tongue, your lips. Inhale, slowly lift the head up. You're going to slide your left forearm in front of your chest. Your right forearm crosses in front of that. You're going to lift the elbows so that you can slide or wiggle and walk your fingertips away. So the arms are thread. This is called shoelace arms. And then you can rest your chin here. And I would suggest closing the eyes. Now, sometimes when we're in this position, the tension can crop up in the back or the glutes. So just breathe down into the belly. And feel how the belly balloons on the in-breath. Even as we're resting in this prone position. But then take your awareness into your low back. And see if you can breathe more into your kidneys. This stretch for the arms will help to open up the large intestine meridian, small intestine meridian, and the triple heater. These meridians are like nadis, they're energetic highways. Remember, within energy is information, consciousness itself. Which is why we want these channels to be fluid. The arms are lodged in between the chin and the chest. And if that's not possible, just do your best, even if it means just working with one arm instead of two. And then inhale, lift the head up, slide your arms closer together. We're going to go to broken wings. So that means the left arm is going to extend to the side as we lower to the left ear. Right hand can prop in front of the chest. We're going to push into that right hand to flip the right foot behind your left leg, rolling to your left side body. So what we're really trying to open up is the fascia, the connective tissue of this left arm. We're also trying to open into the twist. If this hurts your back, you're going to bend the bottom leg, and then you can lower the right knee. Okay, so it doesn't have to stay open if that's not serving you. And that's where we have to let go of our competitive nature, even with ourselves. Doing the twist this way is opening the stomach meridian, but it's also from this lifted knee working into liver, spleen, kidney meridians. Just a few more breaths. And we're going to unroll. Come to the abdomen. Slide your left hand in. Prop up the Sphinx arms. And now we cross the arms the other way. So right arm in front, left arm in front of that. Lift the elbows, slide the arms through, or wiggle the fingertips away. And then bow the head. I like to give a little rock to the hips here just to make sure I'm not contracting or holding in my low back. You can do the same. It's always amazing to me how the two sides seem so different. Even in our own body, the two sides are so unique. So you can't even be competitive between your left and right side. You just accept and work with what you have. And consider how much we've been programmed to be competitive, whether it was through sports or maybe working at the ladder in our career, even amongst our siblings. Try to stay patient, a few more breaths. These longer held yin shapes can become quite intense. If it becomes intense or painful to the point where you are having a hard time breathing, it is wiser to come out. And slowly lift the head, glide your arms closer. Broken wing to the right. So the right arm slides out, come down to the right ear, push away from your left palm, cross the foot over. I've been discovering the slower I enter twist, the more I get pops and realignments in my spine. So that's something else that comes with our competitive nature, to be quick, to be fast, not just to be better than, but in yin, we're purposely slowing down. Couple more breaths. Let's go ahead and unwind that twist. Come to that prone position, slide the right hand in. You're going to push up to all fours. But when you push up to all fours, you may have to re-stack the hands below the shoulders. Plug the belly in. Press down through the shins and the feet. We're just simply doing a tabletop position. Now walk the hands just a baby step beyond the shoulders. Curl your toes. Launch again, downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, straighten out through your limbs. We're going to work into the hips a little bit. So let's step the right foot over to the left, just a tad. So that when we lift the left leg up, we can continue to scissor the leg, maybe swivel through the hips, maybe take downward scorpion. From downward scorpion, we're going to transfer that left knee and shin behind the hands. If you need deer pose, go ahead and prop onto the outer thigh, bend the knee and come down like so, unless you want the half pigeon on your back. If you want the swan, the pigeon form here, where your hips are level, even, knee angled to the left side, you can walk it down to the forearms, to stacked arms, or the face. And we're just going to steep in stillness for a little bit here. Settling in. Giving into gravity. Perhaps noticing how much we're holding here in this region. What are we hoarding here in the hips? Maybe it's stuffed emotions. Perhaps it's stress from our job. But this also ties in with relationships, our relationships to each other, the relationship to ourselves, even our relationship to money. Inhale, let slowly start to climb up. Stacking your hands, curling the back toes under. When you're ready, step into downward facing dog and just experience that flush. Maybe it feels cool and tingly. Maybe it feels warm and soothing. For each person, it will be different. Let's match this up now. Walk your left foot slightly over to the right. Pick up the right leg, scissor it up. Bend the knee, take downward scorpion. Allow that top leg to create like the scorpion tail. And then let that stinger go. Bring that shin forward. Good time to prepare for deer. If you want this pose, half pigeon on your back, or the sleeping swan in yin. Pick one of those three options. You're going to want one of these three options because we're going to build up to a balancing pose at the end. We want to make sure the hips are ready. So just notice, is there more or less density here? More or less sensation here? Use the layer of discernment in your mind. If it pipes up too much, you can always switch to an alternate position. There's no need to force or to compete, even with yourself. Patience as any of this tension unravels. Your breath will show you the way. Inhale it slowly, exit. Hands shoulder distance apart, back toes tucked. Take downward facing dog. Feel the effect on the right side now. And exhale, lower to your knees. Once in tabletop position, we're gonna lift the right knee to the side and we're gonna take large circles. And you may notice when you're externally rotating that hip, how it fires into the glutes a little bit. It has no option. Can't be avoided. Lower the knee. Pick it up on the other side. And then circle it around and around. And then release. We're going to come down to our seats. And I want you to remember that quote we started with. A flower doesn't even have to compete with the one next to it. It simply blooms. So this one, we're actually going to be balancing on our seat. And the arms go to the inside and then cross under each calf. And I'll show you from the front too. Arms to the inside, lifting one leg at a time. Now my arms cross under the knees, but yours may be the calves or ankles. It's okay. Middle finger to thumbs for the Shuni Mudra for patience. Flex the feet. Lift your head and your heart. Blossoming lotus. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to join the feet together, bring them down, release your hands, and you're going to flop over towards your feet. Bowing the head if that's okay for your neck. On your next in-breath, let's draw up. You'll lift the left knee, cross it over to the right. You'll sit up taller and then twist and walk the hands down and then release to the ground. Plummeting down to one cheek. Now, if you rest on the left cheek, it's going to be deeper. If you rest on the right cheek, it's going to be more gentle. Let your hands slide in, push down to rise. So even just think for a moment, when I mentioned left cheek deeper, right cheek more gentle, were you feeling that competitive drive to go to the left cheek because I said deeper? Don't let that influence you. Go ahead and gently turn to the other side. Lift up through the crown, exhale, spin around. Walk the hands down and see what's more comfortable for you. Right cheek or left cheek. Just a few more breaths. And slide your hands in, push down to come up. And then go ahead and turn back to face the front of your mat. We're gonna roll down to the floor, but I want you to have a couple things available. Have your bolster ready and your blanket ready. Now, for your blanket, because remember we had it rolled up before, unroll it, fold it again so it looks more like this, and then fold it in half again so it's longer, more rectangular shaped. And then we'll come to our back. That'll be ready when we get there. Bend the knees. Have your arms beside you. Before relaxation, we're going to do an active pose, Setu Bandhasana. You're going to press through your feet, fire into your hamstrings and glutes. Roll down through your outer arms and see if you can tuck the shoulders slightly to build up your chest. Squeeze the knees slightly towards each other. Let your belly rise on the inhale, fall on the exhale. On your next out breath, go ahead and slowly release. Pick up your knees, hug them in. As you're hugging and holding the knees, keep your low back grounded, breath flowing, mind focused. Now roll to one side and we'll prepare for our final position, which will be bolster under the legs. Blanket over the pelvis and belly. And then you can kind of tuck it in so you're swaddled. Ah, this feels good. Your hands can be on the body or off. Close and rest your eyes. And just think about when we're competitive in nature, it's doing, we're acting, we're trying to prove something, achieve something, or goal oriented. But remembering that we're not human doings, we're human beings. So now we get to bask in the beings. So just be, just breathe. And if or when the mind wants to wander away, just gently remind yourself to come back to the breath over and over and over again. Begin to deepen the flow of our breath. Maybe even stretch the arms overhead today. Perhaps building the feet on top of the bolster, maybe rocking the knees side to side. And then taking away the blanket so you can completely roll over. Come up to form a seat. We'll conclude our practice today, remembering that we're all unique expressions of the divine. And there's no need to compete. So bringing your hands to prayer position at your heart. Hopefully this practice today has helped you to connect to source. When we are connected to the divine, we have an infinite supply of inspiration and creativity so that we can be unique. Let's celebrate our uniqueness today once we depart from our mat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.